Commander Ellis stared at the holographic display with weary eyes. The remnants of the Terran Defense Fleet were scattered across the Antares system, desperately fighting a losing battle against the Drac Armada. For 3 weeks, the aliens had systematically dismantled humanity's outer colonies. Antares base was the last stronghold before Earth itself. "Status report," Ellis demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Lieutenant Reed glanced up from his console. "Not good. Commander, our shields are at 12%. Long-range communications are down. We've lost contact with the Northern Hemisphere. The evacuation transports are still 30 minutes from launch readiness." Ellis nodded grimly. The Drac had appeared without warning at the edge of human space 6 months ago. First contact had been brief, a single transmission in broken English. "Your resources belong to the collective now." Then came the systematic destruction of outposts, mining facilities, and finally colonies. The gathered military officers flinched as another explosion rocked the command center. Through the reinforced viewport, Ellis could see the capital city burning beneath waves of enemy fighters. "We need more time," General Torres muttered, reviewing evacuation protocols. "At least another hour to get the civilians to the underground bunkers." An alarm blared. Reed's fingers danced across his console. "Commander, multiple objects entering atmosphere. Configuration unknown, but they're coming in hot." Ellis felt her heart sink. This was it, the final push. The Drac weren't known for taking prisoners. "On screen," she ordered. The display shifted to show dozens of streaking objects cutting through the upper atmosphere, burning bright against the darkening sky. Reed frowned. "Wait, these aren't Drac ships. They're human drop pods, but we didn't have any orbital forces left." Ellis leaned forward. "Magnify." The image zoomed in on one of the falling objects. It was indeed a human military drop pod, but unlike anything in their current arsenal. Its surface glowed with strange energy patterns, and it moved with impossible precision. "That's Terminus Division," gasped Torres, eyes wide with disbelief. "They actually exist." Ellis had heard whispers about Terminus, a classified special forces unit allegedly equipped with technology decades beyond standard military gear. Most considered them a myth, propaganda to boost morale. The first pod hit ground zero in the center of the Drac ground forces. The impact sent a shockwave across the battlefield. When the dust cleared, a single figure stood in the crater. The command center fell silent as they watched the feed. The soldier wore armor unlike anything they'd seen, sleek, almost liquid in appearance, shifting colors to match the environment. In one fluid motion, the soldier unsheathed a weapon from their back and charged into the nearest group of Drac warriors. What followed defied belief. The lone human moved with inhuman speed, each strike precisely calculated. Where regular troops had struggled against Drac exoskeletons, this soldier's weapon cut through them like paper. More pods landed, each disgorging a single warrior who immediately joined the fray. "There's only 30 of them," Reed whispered in awe. "Against thousands." "It's enough," Ellis replied, watching as the tide began to turn. The Terminus soldiers coordinated with machine-like precision. They didn't speak, at least not audibly, but they moved as a perfect unit, covering each other's positions, drawing enemy fire away from civilian evacuation routes. One soldier, taller than the others with distinctive red markings on their armor, paused amid the battle. They looked directly at a surveillance drone, as if aware they were being watched from the command center. "This is Captain Thomas of Terminus Division." A calm voice came through the comms. "We'll hold them here. Get your people out." Ellis didn't waste time questioning this miracle. "Redirect all evacuation routes through sectors 3 and 7. The Terminus soldiers are creating a corridor." For the next 40 minutes, the command center watched in stunned silence as 30 human soldiers systematically dismantled an alien force that had been crushing their regular military for weeks. The Terminus Division fighters moved like dancers, their augmented reflexes and advanced weaponry creating a defensive perimeter that the Drac couldn't penetrate. The alien commanders, recognizing the threat, redirected their orbital bombardment toward the human special forces. The Terminus soldiers responded by activating devices that created localized distortion fields. causing the energy blasts to disperse harmlessly or redirect back toward Drac ships. Last evacuation transport is away, Reed announced finally. All civilians accounted for. Ellis watched as Captain Thomas's squad formed a tight circle in the central plaza. The Drac forces, despite their superior numbers, held back, seemingly reassessing their strategy against this unexpected threat. Thomas's voice came through again. "Commander, we've uploaded tactical data to your secure servers. Drac shield frequencies, weapons configurations, fleet movements, everything we've gathered. There's also a set of coordinates where your evacuation ships will find safe harbor and reinforcements." "Who are you people?" Ellis couldn't help asking. "How did you—" "We're just humans, Commander," Thomas replied, and Ellis could hear the smile in his voice. "Humans who've been preparing for this day longer than you know. This is what we do." The feed from the battlefield flickered as the Drac began jamming communications. "They're calling in their reserve fleet," Torres noted, checking the long-range scanners. "Even Terminus can't hold against that many." Thomas's final transmission came through broken and static-filled. "Get to the coordinates. Earth will stand. Humanity doesn't fall today or any day. That's a promise." The feed cut out completely as the Drac ships descended. 3 days later, aboard the refugee transport, Ellis reviewed the data Terminus had provided. It contained exactly what Thomas had promised, and more. Detailed blueprints for weapons that could penetrate Drac shields, communication frequencies, tactical weaknesses. Most importantly, it contained coordinates for a hidden human fleet, ships of advanced design, crewed and ready. Ellis looked out at the stars. For the first time since the invasion began, she felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. Because as it turned out, humanity hadn't been caught unprepared after all. Someone had been watching, waiting, and preparing, and now the real counterattack could begin.